Hi, everyone. Hi, Karen. You are on time. Thanks for being here, everyone. For those of you that don't know, my name is Ann Butler, and I am the founder of Bellacross Publishing. And me and my partner, Lisa Rojas, we do 4 free magazines a year. I am currently working on the summer issue, which will be out at the end of the month. And it is filled with all sorts of crafty goodness. So you want to make sure you subscribe. You can go to bellacraftspublishing.com and click on subscribe, and that's all there is to it. Hey, Brenda. So from the Ozarks in Missouri and from South Carolina. Hi, Isabel. Isabel's from Scotland. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Last week, I shared how to make an accordion book or journal. And it's like this. So today I wanted to do a part 2. I want to show you different ways you can actually do the insides, because there's so many possibilities. And if you like junk journals, this would make a great junk journal. And I'll talk about the one I did last week, and then I'm going to show you the one I did where I'm going to show you everything that you can do with it. Jeannie, you're excited to see variations. There is so much you can do with it, and I am just touching on part of it, but there is so much you can do. The possibilities are endless. So I'm going to switch my camera down and go like that. And kind of turn my computer so I can see if there's any questions. I can't guarantee Lisa's not here. She is traveling to the mountains, so good for her. So this is the one I did last week, and I did it with some of my foiled paper, my toner sheets that I foiled, which I love to do. And you can see that shimmer and shine there. And it is an accordion, so you make the pages inside and you attach them together to make a big long sheet. And last week I showed you how to put the whole thing together, so you can watch the replay of that on YouTube. And today I'm going to show you how to decorate the inside. But first I want to share a couple tips with you about putting it together. So for this one, I have my covers, and I actually attached the sheets right to the cover. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. Here is the cover from last week, and I actually attached a piece of cardstock to the inside. Like, let me grab. For that one, I actually glued the first page of my accordion to the inside. You don't have to. If you want something different for your cover, I just used plain white, but you can use whatever you want. You could use foil on the inside too, and then you could take and start your accordion and just attach, so you have a small pocket on that very first page. So you could attach that, and this could be decorative paper, and then you could have a pocket there, and you could do your accordion that way. So you don't have to, just because I did it for mine last week, you don't have to attach the first part of your accordion to the cover. You can go ahead and cover it with whatever you want and go from there. Use a smaller piece, so then you have a pocket right there. So that's one of the tips I wanted to share with you. Hey, Rebecca. Hi, Helen. Yes, just don't throw away the scraps. You're right, Karen. And then I wanted to show you, I took, and this is when you double foil. So I foiled this piece with my toner sheets, and then I took and with the excess, I double foiled it on a piece of black toner, which is stunning. Hi, Lynn, in and of itself. But I did find when I folded it around, I want to show you the die I used. I used one of Eileen's dies, and this comes in one long piece, but I cut the pieces apart to make my covers. So this is mat board. You can use mat board. You can use 2 pieces of cereal box, glue them together for strength. You can use all sorts of things, but I happen to use mat board. But when I folded my double foiled sheet, I noticed, you can see right there, maybe you can see it a little bit of raw edge, like it kind of tore the paper a little, because that foil is solid on here. Whereas on this one, the foil is just in pieces. So it folded over beautifully. And this one, it kind of has a little bit of edging showing through there. And I'm not sure that I totally love it. You can't see it from here. You could ink up the edges and then you won't notice it. But I just wanted you guys to be aware that with the double foiled pieces, when you fold it over so sharply against that mat board, it can give you that edge like that. But you can take, and right here I'm just using pigment ink and a sponge. You can take and ink those edges up. I would heat set this because you're doing it right on foil. And if I was going to ink that up, I would go ahead and come up, just not that you're going to really see it that much, but I would come up on the edge of it too. It's hard to see there, but it will take care of most of that edging, which, you might be okay with, but I just wanted you to be aware. I don't want you to be disappointed if you took and double foiled something and it's such a beautiful piece of cardstock. I just wanted you to be aware, if you fold it like that, it may crease not correctly, not exactly how you're expecting it. So there's that. And then I think last week in this, I did show you how to put the whole accordion together, and I had a little bit extra, so I made these little pockets, and I took and did some corners, and you can put whatever you want inside these. But this week I took and actually made a whole new one, and I didn't use my foiled papers because I wanted you to know you don't have to. Of course you don't have to. And I have the ribbon coming out. I did the ribbon the same way I did last week, coming out here, and to close it, bring one under and one over the top, and then you can tie it. My strings are exceptionally long. I don't want to cut them until it's done, because with an accordion book, you can have it filled with so much stuff that it is quite thick. So you always want to cut your ends of your tie long. So right here, we'll start at the very front. So this one I glued my accordion papers right to the front. And then I made a little tiny belly band just out of a scrap of cardstock. And I punched 2 holes and put the brads through them. I cut the brads because they were a little long. And then I used You can use a glue gun or super tape, something to adhere just those corners down. But I thought the belly band was just cute, and then you can just stick something inside it. This is just a piece of cardstock folded over. And then I had a lot of little bits and pieces of cardstock left over from when I was tearing and ripping. So I just inked up the edges and glued just that little tiny piece there. So when this is folded, you just see that. It would be super cute had I folded it like this so you could see that raw edge, but I didn't mind covering that up because then that was a surprise. So if you're doing this to hold pictures, to use for a trip, then you have a place to write little notes too. So I have that in there. And I'm using a craft colored cardstock, which I love because it's something different than white. And on this one, I used black on the inside. I have a lot of black through here too, because you can use the white pens to do your writing. So on this one, I cut a square, and let me get a ruler. So I cut a square that was about 2 3/4 of an inch, and then I cut it in half, and I cut it first from some cardstock. And then I cut a second square that was, so the square underneath, you can't see it, is 2 3/4. The decorative paper would be 3 inches. And then I cut that in half, and I tore the edge, and I inked up that whole thing, glued it on top. So like I glued it on top of my cardstock just to make this more durable. You could just do cardstock or decorative paper. But this is a very light decorative paper. I mean, it's maybe 24 pound, whereas the cardstock is 80 pound or 110 pound. And it just makes it way more secure. Somebody had asked me last week, because last week I was using the AdTech tape runner, which is permanent, to adhere everything. And I use that for this entire book. Somebody had asked me if you could use glue, which you could. You can use like the PVA glue, and it dries pretty quickly. But the top of my PVA glue, which tomorrow they'll be coming in the mail, the top of this one, as I unscrew it, I can't get this part unattached, and that's what needs to go in there to get that super fine line. And so just beware. I did order a 3-pack, but you could use something different. But I really liked how the permanent tape runner worked, and it was instant. I didn't have to wait. And Lenine said gold or silver pens work well too on black. Yes, they do. They are so beautiful. But for this, I just took, you can see that it is a stitched rectangle, and I just stuck that in there. Now, a lot of you who have been following us for a while know that when I cut things out, if I'm cutting a stitched rectangle for a project, I might cut 6 more in white, and then 6 in black, and 6 in khaki or the craft paper, just so I have a good stash of them always. Like, here's my circles. Here's some smaller rectangles. But I like to always have them on hand so that when I have to make a quick card, I can do it. So it was easy to put this together because I had so much of these already available. And then in here, the next page is where when I cut this, it was 8.5 by 11, and these were 3 1/4. I had this little flap left over. This is where that little flap is. And I just put a piece of decorative paper on top of it, inked up the edges all the way around. And when I put that in there, I put it just a little bit. I didn't put it all the way down into the crease, so everything still opens the way it should. And then I created a couple little tiny tags. Now to do the tags, I just took some scrap paper or cardstock, and this one happens to be just a little over 1 1/4 inches. You can do them any size you want because you'll determine your own height and create a tag. And that's why I did here, and I have the pattern for it. But let me show you how. I just want about the same. So you just determine where you want to cut it. And this one's a little crooked. And then you're going to cut one corner off. And you can make it as deep as you want, as small as you want, whatever. Just cut one corner off. And then you're going to take this corner, make sure it goes the right way, and you're going to flip it and put it on the other side and hold it in that corner. You can't see it because it's craft on craft. But that way, your angles will both be the same. Like that. And then you have a little template to use. And then you can just punch a hole. And I eyeball this. You might want to actually use a pencil and get it exactly where you want it. But I just punch a hole. And then I have a template. And I'm able to make several of these so they're the same size. So then I can just cut around it instead of always trying to get those angles the same. I know these angles are the same, and I can just cut like this scissor better. And I can just cut it. And then you can make several tags that are the exact same size if you don't have a die that is a tag shape. Yeah, right, Isabel. If you don't have a die, that's a tag. So that way, or if you don't want to get your die cutting machine out, whatever. And then I took and I just took and put how far I thought I wanted to go down. And I just, this tape runner is almost gone. And then I just added a bit of tape. And I took a piece of scrap. Tried to get that straight. And then I can just trim around this. To give it some color. And that's an easy way to make decorative tags. And then you can just see where you want to put your hole. If you want your hole a little further down, you can do that if you didn't get it in the right place. But then you have a decorative tag. And then For this one, I just took some twine, wrapped it around 3 times, and tied a little tiny knot in the back, and then put some twine through for the top of it. You can, if you want, ink up these edges too. If you were going to do that, I didn't do it to mine, but if you were going to, I would ink the bottom edge up before I put it on my tag. So all 4 sides were inked up. But that way you can quickly and easily make tags, and you can do them with black cardstock, white cardstock, whatever you have. You don't have to add the decorative paper, but it just adds a little bit of interest. And it kind of follows the theme of the book. For this book, I just took a paper pack that I unfortunately have had in my stash for, about 15 years. At least 12. You know, the paper you save because you love it so much and you don't use it. Well, I thought it was time to get it out. But that's what I did on this side. And then you got these 2 cute little tags. You can add as many tags in there as you want. You can put 3 tags. You can put whatever you want in there. And then over on this side, again, I just have a stitched die cut circle this time. It is basic gray linene. It's their 8x8 paper that I just always kept because someday I would use it. You still have some of that paper. So I put that in here, and in here, I'll have to show you guys sometime. This is a decorative paper clip. Again, made with the basic gray paper. And it's just a regular paper clip that I covered with paper to make it decorative. And they slide just on, just like a regular paper clip. And then you can put whatever you want right there. So on the next page, I just took and tore some of my paper. And, you know, I just kind of measured, okay, so this one would be long enough. And I just, so if you tear away, and this is the side you're going to use, you won't have a white edge. But if you tear up, and this is the side you're using, then you will have a white edge. It doesn't really matter if you're inking it up, but if you're not, you might want that white edge showing. So then you would just tear up. If you don't, then you tear down. So no white edge, beautiful white edge. And I love the white edge. I just, because I added black to this, I wanted to ink up the edges. I would maybe even consider inking up all of the accordion pages in here too. But I would do that before I put the book together. You can do it now too, but I didn't do that. But yeah, so whichever way you're going to tear will give you a different look. And then you can get that also with cardstock that has a white core. So you have that too. I can see using these in the steampunk journal kit. Yes, Lauralee, that would be awesome. So I just tore a small strip and I just added it just to add a little bit more color. I did it to both sides here. They're not the same width. This one's a little bit narrower, but it doesn't matter. I mean, you're just having fun. Intrigued by the hidden paperclip, Jeannie? Yeah, I'll have to share that technique sometime. So then here again, another hidden paperclip. And then I took my stitched decorative circle, and again, I took some of those scraps because when you're tearing paper, you end up with a lot of little scraps. I mean, you can just throw them away, I know. But if you have everything out, I just inked this up and put it across the center, and it just adds just a little bit of color to it. Again, here I did a triangle, again with the cardstock underneath, and covered it with the paper. And then I just stuck 3 stitched circles inside. Over here, I actually, when I was putting this together, I used, let me see if I can find, because I did it right here. So this is the accordion part, right? And I wanted a bigger pocket than the little pockets that we had. So what I did was I cut, this was a full page, I cut some of it off to make a bigger pocket. So you can make your own pockets and you can make them bigger. And then I just glued the 2 sides to attach it like I did last week. And then again, I took a piece of that scrap and added ink to the edges and then stuck a rectangle stitched piece in there. Over on this side, open this up. Nope, that is where it's stopping, because that's my last one. This one, again, I wanted decorative paper over the pocket. I put the decorative paper because this is the size of the pocket when you're folding your paper. This is the size you end up with. And I just made my decorative paper about a 1/4 inch bigger, so I could have it a tiny bit bigger. But this is what's underneath that pocket, so it keeps it nice and secure. And then I took just a regular paper clip and put some ribbon on it and tied it. I'll show you how I did that because it's easy, but that way you have a decorative paper clip also. So I have some of my ribbon here, and I'm just going to cut a piece off, and you're going to fold it in half, and you're going to take, this is where the paper clip opens. You're going to go in the smaller end, and with that fold, and then you're just going to pull. And when you pull, you want to make sure you pull one very tight and the other end very tight. And then it gets you that knot. If you want, you can put a little drop of glue with a glue gun so it'd be instant on there, because some ribbons won't hold as well as others. This one holds really well, but if you have a thicker ribbon, a grosgrain ribbon might not hold as well because it has a lot of texture. You might want just a little drop of glue in there. And then I take my ends and I would trim them to the length I want, and I would trim them so that the angles are going the same way. But those are cute decorative paper clips too. So this is the end of the inside of the first side. Now the other side, wait a second, here, and then here. Okay, I was going, how come it's upside down? It shouldn't be. There we go. Okay, let me see. I did a lot of the same things, so I want to make sure I have the right. Okay, this is the other side. So again, I did a belly band and did the little tag. And I did cardstock corner and put decorative paper over it. And this time I did, I put a paper clip on this one, but I would use the decorative paper clip, even though I love these paper clips because they're metallic and they're very cool. They come in an assortment with all sorts of colors. So I kind of tried to keep it almost the same. But on this side, I put the bigger pocket with decorative circles. I did not have another tan one. Like on this side, I had a tan one, a black one, and a white one. This time, I just put 2 white ones and a black one. But really, whatever you have, even if you didn't have stitched die cuts, you can just, let me take, so you can just take your cardstock, and I'd use a paper trimmer and trim it up all nicely so that it was the same size on 3 sides. But then you can tear the edge for a decorative look. I love torn edges, and you can stick that in there. So, I mean, use whatever you want, use whatever you have, but super easy. So on this side, I just put one of those decorative paper clips so you can stick whatever you want in there, you know. And then here is the other side. So when you do these hidden paper clips, one side, of course, is longer than the other, but the opposite side would also hold something if you wanted to. But here I put a pocket, and again, I did the cardstock underneath and the paper on top, and I brought it in not even a 1/16 of an inch on each side so that it still folds way. If you keep adding things all the way to the fold, it's not going to fold properly. And then I just took some of the small rectangles and stuck in there because you can write so many things on here. And I did another pocket from the edge that had the pocket, and I put the decorative paper over it. And I just did one tag inside there. And then here, just another paper clip, decorative paper clip, which you could even put decorative paper up there if you wanted. Or I have lots of scraps here, but you can put whatever you want in there. Here I did in our corner with just a couple of the rectangles. And then this is the last page, and it shows another decorative paper clip. So you can do whatever you want inside these. And what's really cool is how thick they get when you're adding things. And the more you add, that's why I kept the ribbons so long, so that you can wrap it. But you can add, okay, so if you go to the movies, you can put your ticket stubs in here. You can do your receipts. You can do whatever you want. Pictures is a perfect thing. This can be just a little memory thing, or it could be a super cute birthday card for a friend where you put pictures of each other in there and through the years that you've known them. So there's so many things you can do inside these journals. I wanted to show you another way that you can. So I have here one of the ones I started putting together, right? And I glued the edges And here's where it came together. There's my little pocket. And I taped these edges together. Now, if you don't want to tape or you want a decorative look without putting all of the paper in there, you can, when you're putting it together, this is going the opposite way rather than this way. This is going horizontally. You can use washi tape, and that gives you a decorative look on both sides of the page that connects. So I wanted to show you how to do that. So I'm going to find two of these that are the same. Okay, so I don't want to do it to the pocket part. I want to do it to these two pieces. Okay, these are the same. And then you have your pocket here. I mean, you could keep adding until you're done. But these are the two pieces that I want to put together. So what I did last week was I would have did a tape runner on both sides of this and put this here, and then that forms your pocket and it keeps your accordion going. But this time we're going to do it so you have that decorativeness of the washi tape. And I'm going to use the same washi tape so it kind of matches. But washi tape comes in hundreds of thousands of patterns and widths and all the fun stuff. So you're just going to take and tape this down, tear it so that it is as wide as your paper. This one's a little thin, little narrow. Okay. So it's as wide as the top edge of your cardstock. And you're going to place this down on one side. Okay. And then you can do it two ways. This is the way I'm showing you. I'll show you the other way you can do it. This way I think is way easier. Then you're going to take and put the edges together. Set it down, and you're going to fold this over and secure it so that it's tight along the top and nice along the edges. And then you're just going to trim the excess off. So then it folds nicely. Now, if you put it down like this, let me find one. So if you want to do it so it's down, you would leave a little tiny gap, and then you could put the washi tape right on top. I find it's easier to do one side, put them together, and do it folded. But you could do it, you need that gap so it folds. If you put it so that they're right butt up next to each other, it's not going to have that give for that fold. And you need to have that fold. So then you can see it right here. You can kind of see there is that gap. So you're going to do the other side too. Now you can do the other side with the same washi tape, or you can use a completely different one if it coordinates for your book. I'm just using the same. And you just lay this down, and it's okay. Like if you went further down and had it wider on one side than the other, it's totally up to you, because these books are yours and you just do whatever you want. And you put that down. You turn this over. I don't have to line them up because they're already taped on the other side, right? And you're going to fold this Make sure you get that edge. You don't want it crooked, so that there's extra tape up at the top edge. And then you're just going to trim that excess off. So then you have, so that you have the washi tape instead of gluing or taping with something else, but then you get that decorative use right there. You can also use your paper in place of the washi tape and use a tape runner or glue, and you can put your paper on one side and then the other. Same thing, I would fold it, but you could put your paper on that way, or you can use like old dictionary pages or anything that you want. I mean, there's so many possibilities. Lynn said she's used cello tape from Tim Holtz. That would work really good too. Isabel, I sometimes use double-sided tape with washi tape to make sure it stays down and won't come apart. That is a good thing. Yes, that's a wise thing to do, Isabel. But yeah, so that's just another way you can do it so that you have the decorativeness going on right away. And then you have that on the edge of your pages, which is really cool, which is why old, very old books that you're taking apart because they can no longer be used. You can do the edges. Let's do it over here, because that would look really cool on the edge of your book too. So you can do that. You can use decorative paper. There's so many possibilities. It's just you're limited by what you have and your imagination, I think. Yes, Ling, you could make full-size pockets, and you can do top pockets also, because you can put two of these together and have a top pocket, definitely. And I'm going to switch my camera, and then I'm going to kind of look through and see if there were any questions, because I wasn't watching, even though I turned this, I wasn't watching as much as I thought I would be. But I'll go through all of your stuff and answer your questions. I love this journal. I have one started, but life got in the way. Brenda, I can totally relate to that, especially this week. How many sections of paper did you fold for the pages in your book? So you can use as many as you want. In this book, I used I used 4 sections of paper. So it's 2 sheets of paper, because for this particular one, I was able to cut an 8.5 sheet of paper into 4 1/4, and then you have the 11 inches wide. And that's where I got the little tiny pockets. But I used 4 of these. But you can use 2, you can use 4, you can use 8, whatever you want, and however big you want to make the book. I love these ideas for wallet-sized photos and gift cards. Yes, that's perfect. That's why I said it would be a great birthday present. Yeah, you could put a gift in there, and you could put happy birthday on the outside. I missed the beginning of the show. How did you make the accordion book? Dorothy, I did the accordion book last week. So that was part 1. This is part 2. So I showed how to put it together last week. So if you want to watch that on YouTube, I'll put a link in so you can catch it. I love your 2 hearts, but especially your live heart. I love your 2 hearts, but especially your live heart. I'm not sure what that means, Gina, but thank you. I love this idea and everything everybody's sharing. Yes, it's sometimes well, I like to share tips and tricks, techniques. I like um Lisa does full beautiful projects start to finish. Oh, my necklaces. Oh, thank you. Those are they both say mom. And they're from my sons. So thank you. Um but I like to do techniques. And last week when I did the accordion book, I thought I need to show them what to do on the inside because there's so many possibilities. And this is just like the tip of the iceberg. I mean, like everybody was giving great ideas, about what they use and what they do and for top pockets and all the things. And I love that when this is all together, all of the ribbon shows from the paper clips and you get that wideness. And as you add things, it just becomes wider. Once it would be done, I would trim these, but for right now, it just they don't bother me that they're long. I want them long enough so I don't have to add anything on. So I'm glad you guys like this. And I forgot to say, if you like, share, and comment with the hashtag Bella Crafts, you'll be entered for the giveaway for next week. And we're doing a sampler pack of my toner foils. And Lisa usually does the randomizer, and I forgot to have her pick somebody for last week. So next week we will give away two, one from last week and one for this week. I love making junk journals out of these accordions. I know they're just so fun and they're easy, and you're really limited by the supplies you have, and you can use anything. So, I mean, that's what's great. I used to own a store and I taught classes all the time. And I was looking through my stuff because I have a lot of the book classes I used to teach. And it's like, oh my goodness, I need to teach some of these again because books are always something people want to learn. And yeah, there's so many possibilities with low costing. You can use almost everything you already have, because like I said, if you don't have mat boards, you can use cereal boxes, put them together and, cut them out. If you don't have Eileen's die, which happened to be the perfect size for when I did it, I wanted it to make sure that my toner paper would work. So I needed it to be, my toner paper is 6x6. I needed to make sure it was 5x5 or less. And this one of hers is actually 4.5 by 3.5. So it was perfect size. But you can cut that out just with your paper cutter too. Accordion books are great to make with children. Yes, as they can make them any size and they can make them personal. I agree. Yes, I think, there's so many things. And I think it's so important to keep kids creative and share your creativity with them. So I wanted to say that next week I'm hoping to be here. We do have an interview that we're doing with Rebecca Meyer and her brand new papers with joggles, her rice papers, and they're beautiful. I won't know if we'll be doing the live until Wednesday. I'm sorry. I won't know for sure. Lisa doesn't like to do the interviews by herself. So she wouldn't do it and we would postpone it if I'm not able to. I do have a family emergency and I will be out of town next week. So it depends upon the situation and if there's a place for me to set up and do a live. I think it'd be good to do the live just because it'd give me something else to think about. But I won't know that until next Wednesday. So I will put a message out if we're doing the live for sure. Otherwise, we will postpone it. So thank you all for just bearing with me during this time. And yeah, as soon as I know the situation of what if I'm able to do the live or not, I will let you guys know. But and if we don't do the live next week, we will announce the 2 winners the following week. So we will make sure we get those out there too. So thank you all for being here. I love that you guys put all of your comments in here. I love reading them. I love seeing you guys interact with each other. And it just makes my heart happy. Prayers for you and your family. Thank you, Gina. I do need prayers, especially right now. So I appreciate that. And yes, family comes first. So thank you all. But remember to always take some time to craft because it's good for your soul. And I hope to see you next week. I'll be out of town the following week seeing our grandson, Becca. That is so lovely. I'm so happy for you. Hope the emergency is over soon and everything is well. Thank you, Isabel. But you guys have a lovely afternoon, and we will hopefully see you next week. And Lisa would not be doing a live next week regardless. She would come on the interview with me at 2:00 Central Time if we are doing it. So there will not be a noon live no matter what, because it's the fourth Wednesday, and we always try to do an interview with one of our creative girlfriends. But I do want to remind you, Tiffany and I will be doing the pajama party tonight. So we will be live tonight at 9:00 on the Bella Crafts Publishing YouTube channel, the Bella Crafts Publishing Facebook, and the Cool to Craft YouTube channel. So we'll be live on all 3 of those, and I will be sharing some toner bookmarks that I created, which are so fitting for me for right now. So I'll be sharing that. I'm not sure what Tiff is sharing, and then we'll be doing our Whatnot auction tonight. So I'm glad you like the pajama party. It is. They are fun. So I will see you guys all later. And like I said, remember to take some time to craft because it is good for your soul.